I am the first girl, third born, are you tracking with me? In a family of 8 Nigerian children. Let that sink in. And the best thing about being the first girl is that I didn't have to wear any hand-me-down clothes. It was pretty great. But the worst thing about it was that after my parents got divorced, when I was a sophomore in high school, and my dad got custody after a series of events that me and my therapist are still talking about, I had to take on all the duties of my mother. It was a bunch of bullshit. I was a class president, student council president, honor roll student cheerleader, and moonlit at night as a stay-at-home mom. It was the worst. So at night, I would make the family a dinner of this dish called Nigerian beans. It wasn't too complicated. I mean, the trick was to watch the water. If the water got too low or evaporated, the beans would burn. And burning beans on my dad's accountant's salary, feeding 9 people, was a cardinal sin. And my dad would always tell me if I was doing anything besides watching those beans, Ozioma, don't burn the beans. And it was super annoying because I would tell him all the time, I've never burned the beans. My dad, bless his heart, is an accountant. And he walks like a mummy that has eaten a really good Thanksgiving dinner, if you guys can imagine that. And he was super stern, and he only smiles about once a year during pictures at Sears Family Portrait Studio. He's hella scary. I mean, there was 8 of us, and we all got straight A's, and it wasn't because we liked school. So one night, I'm watching this pot of dumb beans burn. And my dad tells me that he needs to go to the grocery store for a quick run. Before he leaves, he tells me, Ozioma, don't burn the beans. Dude, whatever. So I look at him and I tell him, I've never burned the beans. And he gives me this really stern look, and he mummy walks out of the kitchen and into the garage, and he drives off. And as I hear him pull off, man, I go get my homework. What do I look like watching the pot boil while I have AP English to do? So I'm doing my homework and I'm watching this pot of beans, and then after a while I skip my happy ass to the bathroom because it's time for a bathroom break. And I go to the bathroom and I don't know what I'm doing in there. Maybe I'm like looking at myself and like smiling, practicing, what I'm gonna say, how I'm gonna pose for this basketball player I was crushing on, who knows. And after I'm good and done with the smile I'm gonna give to this boy, I open the door and I hear my little brother say, is something burning? I'm like, oh my God. I run to the kitchen, I lift the lid. You guys, that water was gone. Like, not even like, ooh, there's a little bit at the bottom. That water was gone. It was done. I had burnt the beans. I had burnt dinner for 9 whole people. I was freaking out. Oh, it's like, shit. I gotta move out of state, or maybe I legitimately consider maybe I should throw myself down the stairs and break my arm, because that would distract him. He'd be like, oh my God, my daughter's arm is broken. Who cares about dinner? Because my dad was gonna roast that ass. So I settled on a cover-up. The following was executed like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. So I open all the windows and all the doors in the kitchen. I take the burnt beans, I trash them. I scrub that pot hard and clean with a 3M sponge. They're the best, by the way. I scrub it, 3M sponge it, and put on a new pot of beans. And then I take the trashed beans to the neighbor's dumpster. Fuck that shit. It's in the neighbor's dumpster. Oh, you want to figure out if I burnt the dinner? You're gonna have to dig in the neighbor's dumpster. So I take it to the neighbor's dumpster, and then I take 2 dish rags and wave them around my head as I circle the kitchen running, trying to fan out the smoke. So my arms are on fire, they're so tired, and I hear the garage door open. It's time. It's over. I close all the windows, I ditch the rags, I sit in front of the stove looking at this pot of beans, and I put on my best I didn't do shit wrong face. So my dad, Mummy, walks into the kitchen, and he stands there super still. He takes 2 sniffs, and then he turns to me, and he goes, Ozioma, did you burn the beans? And I look up. I look him dead in the eyes, you guys. This wolf. I look this wolf mummy dead in the eyes. And I say, nope. And he stares at me. We're staring at each other. He locks eyes with me, and he mummy walks over to the stove. He lifts the pot, and he is face to face with a perfect pot of beans. But he's not convinced. This dude takes a spoon out of the drawer, digs it into this pot, and scrapes the bottom, looking for a charred bottom. He finds nothing. Oh, thank you, 3M Sponge. I told you guys. He finds nothing. He puts the lid back on the pot, but he freezes. He knows. He knows. I'm sitting, staring at my hands. Tears are welling in my eyes. I'm freaking out. And right as I'm about to tell him how sorry I was for burning the beans, how exhausted I was from juggling school and homework and trying to fill in all the duties of my mother, I look up, and he's gone. He'd walked out of the kitchen. I still maintain the story that I had not burned the beans every Christmas and every holiday when I go and visit my dad. But I know, and he knows, we both know that I burned those beans. But I also know, and he knows, that he had seen me work tirelessly to keep my grades up and fill in all the mom holes that their divorce had left. And I was honestly, truly doing my best for my family. Thanks.
Ozioma Akagha, ladies and gentlemen.